Hey folks, today we have a little mock murder on our hands and we are going to use two products available at crimescene.com to help us solve it. First up we have biofoam, which is an impression foam. How it works is that you press an object, such as a shoe, into it and it leaves an impression. Biofoam is very sensitive and it doesn't take a lot of work to get a really good impression. Here we have our suspect who is at the scene of the crime taking a quick impression of her right shoe by simply stepping into the box. When analyzing it, we see that it comes out looking a bit like this. Little did our suspect know, however, is that we had actually found a footprint near the scene of the crime. Unfortunately, due to the rocks and dirt, it's nearly impossible to get a definitive print from. So we're going to cast it. We have two options: Traxtone and Crimecast. Now, both are modified plasters that are not easily breakable, but today we're going to use Crimecast. Traxtone has these cool little green pellets in it that gives us this off color, but Crimecast has water included, and so for simplicity's sake, we're going to go with Crimecast today. As the directions say, all you have to do to start using Crimecast is simply place your palm on the back and press down. As you can see, it's fairly sturdy, so it's easiest to use both hands and press firmly. Once it's broken, you are supposed to knead the material for 3 minutes, making sure that everything gets wet and it mixes well. Outside, we are going to do a little preparation. The first thing we're going to do is lay down a casting frame. This makes sure that none of the plaster that we pour gets out. What we're going to do next is hairspray the casting area. What this does is harden the dirt and rocks around the cast so that when we pour on the plaster, they don't fall or move. Once you've got a good coat of hairspray on it, it's ready to pour on the plaster. In order to pour on the plaster, simply cut the corner and pour in the mold. When pouring in, don't pour directly on the print, because what this will do is mess it up because of the weight. Since we use hairspray, this is less of a problem, but still, be careful. Obviously, the amount of plaster we have isn't quite enough, so what we're going to do is take a flat object. What's recommended is a spatula or a scraper, but we'll use a box. When doing this, make sure you do it nice and smooth and don't put too much pressure on it and mess up the impression. After waiting about 30 minutes to an hour, the impression is dry enough to be able to move with your hands. Like I said before, unlike normal plaster, this is a lot more durable, so you're able to mess around with it a little bit more. Don't be too rough, but at the same time, you don't have to worry about being extra careful. Next, all you have to do is brush off the dirt from the mold. As you can see here, we're using a light brush and it's not doing very much, so make sure you use a nice coarse brush. Since it's a more durable material, this is okay and it won't scratch the mold. Getting material off this mold is actually surprisingly easy. The Crimecast doesn't hold too much on the dirt. You can even use water. What I did was I spent a couple minutes. It's not on this video, but I spent a couple minutes taking a toothbrush to it with some water. I didn't do a lot of extra scrubbing. It was a nice quick one-over with a toothbrush. As you can see here, we're going to add on some water, which is completely okay with this material. It's not going to ruin your impression at all. You can already see some of the treads and lines coming through on the cast. Once we're done, we find the cast looking like this. And finally, with some computer comparison, you can see that the casts are a perfect match. You can notice where all the tracks and the lines match up as well as the size. And that's it. Our murder is solved.